This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. Guys, I'm a fan. I've used them for years. Would highly recommend. Hi everybody. My name is Bill, and I have a problem. I have gas. Now my wife told me, she said she's had it up to here with my gas. She said she's gonna leave me if I don't deal with my gas. But last week, my addiction got the best of me. I was in that camera store and I locked eyes with that brand new Sony Handycam. I went up, I pressed a few buttons, and I knew she had to be mine. So I brought her home. Debbie didn't like that one bit. She started yelling and screaming. She told me, "Bill, if you don't start making some money off this little hobby of yours, I'm gonna kick you out." See how she uses those belittling words? Hobby. I told her this is a serious business. We're incorporated now. It's Bill's Cinematic Productions, Inc., Debbie. So I respected her decision. I left and I did some soul searching. And I said, how do I make some money? So I went on YouTube. I started Googling, how do I make money this weekend with photography? And wouldn't you know it, a Chris Chow video popped up. I became a huge fan instantly. I wanted to prove to Debbie that I could win her back, but I needed to make real money for Debbie. So I slid into Chris Chow's DMs and I said, "Chris, my wife's gonna leave me if I buy another Sony Handycam. Can you help me? Can you help me make some money to win her heart back?" Chris is kind Canadian soul. He invited me up to learn from him. So I flew all the way from Atlanta, Florida up to Toronto, Canada, picked me up a Canada hat. I love it a lot. And today, he told me he's gonna teach me how I can start renting my gear to make money. So I'd like to introduce to you the most amazing person in the world, my new best friend, Chris Chow. Here, I'm just gonna get him 1 second. Chris! Your camera's rolling! Yeah, no, I know. Hi everyone, that's my friend Bill. Bill, it's Chris Howe, not Chris Chow. All right, in today's video, as Bill jumped the gun on, we will be talking about how to make money by renting out your gear. Now, this is something that I've actually done myself. I've made some money. I rent gear all the time off of other people. So this is obviously a viable revenue stream. And it's something that a lot of people do not think about, but there's money to be made. Now, obviously, there is risk involved in this, but we will be covering the pros and cons, and I will let you decide if this is something that you're interested in. Now, before we jump into those pros and cons, let me tell you about my experience with renting out my gear. Now, when I first started, I just started renting out to friends, and most of the time, everything was really chill. Made a few $100s here and there, actually paid off a lot of my equipment, but there's the odd story of gear coming back and plugging in batteries, and then it starts smoking, and you're like, I've also had drones come back and they were missing a few props as a part of our kit. I actually messaged that person. I was like, hey, where are those extra props? And he was like, oh, about that. I crashed your drone a bunch. But even after those 2 casualties, I still made a profit. All right, so let's chat about the pros and cons of renting out your gear, starting with the pros. Now, the most obvious one and the title of this video, you're gonna make extra money. But most importantly, it's gonna help pay for your gear. And it's also gonna help offset the depreciation of that gear. For example, when you buy a car, the moment you drive it off of the property, it's lost value. The same thing with a camera. When you have a brand new camera, you take it out of the box, it's instantly lost value. So by renting it out, it's gonna help make up the money that you've actually lost off of that depreciation. Now, this is a bit of a stretch on this one, but it will help build your community out, which is very important. By renting out your gear, you'll meet other producers, directors, videographers, camera people, audio people in your community who will help also direct work your way by building out those relationships just because you're offering out gear that other people might not have the money to invest in. Now, let's say you start taking this rental business seriously and you start investing in some higher end cameras like a C200 and FS7. The nice part about renting out this gear is not only will it pay itself back in those rentals, but you now have that asset, which is super valuable. You get to learn how to use those cameras, which means that you might get invited to go out on set more often and you might land more jobs just by having that more expensive camera. Okay, the cons. Now, obviously there is risk involved. Your gear could come back damaged by renting it. It could get stolen, which is the worst case scenario. Or it could come back with just like little knickknacks missing, which is like kind of the worst, because then you have to go and buy this like thing that's like $20 to like replace, because all camera gear is stupid expensive. Just be mindful that no one else is gonna treat your gear the way that you do. Now, when you're starting out, renting your gear here and there is not really a big deal, but when your camera and your gear become more in demand, scheduling starts to become an issue. And maybe you have a shoot booked, but then someone wants to rent it at the same time, and then maybe you already rented it out beforehand, so then you can't end up doing that shoot, and it just becomes kind of complicated. And I feel like a lot of us have emotional connections with our gear. This is how we make our livelihood. This is how we express ourselves as creatives. And when you rent that gear out to someone else, you're gonna have to deal with the anxiety of giving it to someone and never really knowing what they're doing with it. It could be near a waterfall, it could be underwater, hopefully in a housing, but you just don't know how they're gonna treat it. And you have to be okay dealing with that anxiety. There's also prep time involved with the gear, as well as sometimes even explaining things and troubleshooting that comes up on the spot. You might be sitting on the beach having a pina colada and you have somebody being like, how do I use this monitor? It's not connecting. My client's screaming at me right now. And you're like, so you press the power button. These are things that you have to deal with. So you have to realize that in your head, it sounds super easy. I'm just renting my gear. But the sad reality is you're spending time fixing gear, being a technician, troubleshooting for other people's projects, and all the other admin stuff that's involved with running a business that is renting out your gear. So let's talk about some of the gear that rents out well. Now, obviously the type of gear you have will dictate the price and the rental fee that you'll receive. Here are some ones that I've rented out, as well as some friends of mine, and the ones that you'll often see at rental houses. Number one, and usually not the most obvious one, lights. This is gonna be the best bang for your buck, because generally lights are fairly inexpensive, but will last anywhere from 7 to 10 years because you always find them on sets. The next items would be in the grip realm. And when I talk about grip, I'm talking about stands, C-stands, flags, things that help you make your image better, that do not rely on new technology of cameras and lenses. A friend of mine used to make this joke that he goes, when the world ends, the only things that will be left over are cockroaches and C-stands. And it's so true. You can actually go and get grip equipment from like 40 years ago, and it's still usable today. A C-stand will cost you about $100. Maybe you rent it out for $5 for the day. It would only end up taking you 20 days to pay that C-stand off and then start making a profit. And then you also own that C-stand for you to use on your own productions. That's good business. I'm not gonna be too specific with the camera models, but generally a high-end DSLR will be in demand, as well as cinema cameras. Now, the shelf life for your average camera, because the technology changes so quickly, is usually around 4 to 5 years. So have the expectation that you're gonna own that camera for 4 years, then you're gonna wanna sell it and get the next one to start renting out. Now, rather than offering like a la carte, where you're like, okay, I'll give you the Sony a7 III plus the 24 to 70mm lens and just offer them separately, create a package where someone can rent those together at a lower price point, and you'll rent that item more often. And you can create packages for everything. For example, a friend of mine actually has an entire grip truck. It's like a trailer that you can rent for like $500 to $1,000 per day. And it has a ton of C-stands, grip stuff, lights, like everything you would ever need for a production, even a high-end commercial production. And he rents that out pretty much all the time because there's so much value jam-packed in that one offering. So if this all sounds interesting to you and you're like, ooh, I want to build a lucrative gear rental business, let's figure out how to rent your first piece of gear. So first things first, do an inventory of all your gear. Make an entire spreadsheet of every single item that you have, including the price, because you're gonna need this for insurance later, and put all those pieces of equipment down so that when you send that spreadsheet along to someone who'd be interested in renting any of your gear, they can see what you have and they can pick and choose what they want for their next shoot. And once you got that spreadsheet sorted out, now it's time to market. Now I would start focusing on your local community. Start telling your friends, hey, I'm actually interested in renting out my a7 III. I also have a few lenses. I'll create some deals and packages for you. Let it be known that you're in the rental world now. Also start posting to different Facebook groups. Now here in Toronto, there's a Facebook group where different producers, directors, videographers are always posting different jobs. So find a Facebook group in your community and post to your group that offering that you have. If you want to take it another step further, take a picture of all your gear so that people can actually swipe through it, starting with your most valuable gear first. So basically that's how you'll rent your first piece of gear. Now let's say you finally built up that stamina, maybe you've paid off that piece of gear and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna actually rent this to someone that I don't know. You can start posting your offerings to places like Kijiji, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, or some more professional websites like Shuttershare or ShareGrid. Now there's tons of different places that you can actually post your gear. Do your research, find the one that works best for you. Try to find one that has a really good insurance policy and read that insurance policy to a T, so you understand what is gonna happen if your gear either gets stolen or breaks. Also, I would consider adding an extra page to your current website or building a completely separate website that just focuses on rentals. I haven't seen Bill in a while. Bill! He's supposed to be with me. I'm taking care of him. 1 second. Chris, I'm right here. He doesn't know that I like to sit in dark places, so I was underneath the table taking notes. What's he got here? Squarespace ad read. Oh man, what a sellout. Okay, what does he have to say? Portfolios and galleries. Present your business using Squarespace's professional portfolio designs. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, people are always saying, hey, Bill, where's your website? And I'm like, I don't have one. I don't need it. Why don't you come over for tea and I'll show you my portfolio booklet? And nobody comes for tea, ever. So I guess getting a website, I should do that. What else? Appointment scheduling. Well, I mean, if this rental business of mine is gonna be blowing up like I intend it to, I don't want to be just jumping on phone calls. Oh, Sandy, the Handicam's not available. Oh, Hank, the Handicam's not available. You'll have to do it on this day. And I'm just going all over the place, being a little phone call man. I suppose this would make this a lot easier. So that's actually great. All right, last tip here. All in one platform. Build your website and claim your domain. Oh, I've always been afraid because I had to use 2 sites before, but if it's all in one, oh boy, if I don't act fast, someone's gonna get Bill Cinematic Productions and Marketing Rental House official website.com. Oh boy, I need to go quickly. How do I get one of these websites? Head to squarespace.com for a free trial. Ooh, I like free. And when you're ready, I'm ready. Head to squarespace.com/Chris Howe or use Chris Howe on checkout to save 10% off your first purchase. It's Chris Howe, not Chris Chow. I've been saying Chris Chow this whole time. CHRISHAU. There's no extra C. Oh boy, I've done wrong by my new friend. I know how to make it up to him. I'm gonna buy a website. I'm gonna go use Chris Howe on checkout. You guys should do it too. Let's make him happy. It was so nice. Okay, I gotta go get this website, BillCinematicProductions.com, official website. Let's go. Still can't find him. Moving on. The next point we're chatting about, insurance. Maybe some of you out there, like myself, have an insurance policy that covers your gear if it ever falls, breaks, or gets damaged. But this is very important because there's always like a bit of a gray area. If you start using some of these websites, they have different insurance policies that work, but there's this weird thing that if you claim it to the police and you tell them, hey, my gear is stolen, they're gonna go, well, you posted on this website, you voluntarily gave it to someone, we're not gonna do anything for you. And that's like a big, like, boom, boom. That's an asterisk, by the way. Boom, 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 boom. Super serious note to take. I think it's always important to remember that this is your responsibility. Try to have an insurance policy in place that will protect you, just in case these other insurance policies off of these websites do not work. Now let's jump into some pro tips of when you're actually renting out this gear to people. Number 1, get a picture of their driver's license, both the front and the back, and make sure you have all the documentation to prove who this person is. 2, get some sort of contract in place that explains all the gear that you're listing, as well as when that gear needs to be returned, and some sort of contingency plan should that gear come late or not be returned at all. The next thing that you should do is take a picture of all your gear in the condition that it's in, so that you can go, hey, actually, when I rented this to you, there was this piece, and this piece. Can you tell me where those are? And if not, have that person replace those pieces for you. As your mindset in the space starts to develop and you actually start making some good money by renting out your gear, you may want to consider buying specific gear just for renting. Now, here's a cool story of my friend Nick, who bought a Fujinon lens. Now, these lenses can range anywhere from $10,000 all the way up to $40,000 and are a staple in television production. Now, what he did is that he wanted to use this lens on his Arri Alexa as often as he could, but to justify the cost of spending almost 40 grand on a lens. What he did is that he chatted with a bunch of rental houses in the area. He told them, hey, I'm gonna be buying this lens. Do you wanna whitelist this lens and offer it as a lens that you can rent here at your studio, and we'll split the commission? That rental house will reach out to Nick. They'll say, hey, they want it for 7 days. He goes, no problem. He brings it in, they handle the whole rental, and when that revenue comes back, they split the revenue made off of it, and the rental house will actually sometimes handle cleaning it up, which is actually a pretty sweet deal and a good way of getting more expensive gear so that you can start using those on your productions. Okay, now the professional level. Now you've taken this very seriously. You're like, I wanna open a rental house. Now, again, take this with a grain of salt. I have not done this myself, but there's a reason why rental houses exist in your city for commercial productions and big blockbuster movies. It's because those companies have massive budgets to spend. For example, there's a rental house here in Toronto that rented out a package for 20 days for $40,000. I believe it was like 2 cameras, a few lenses, and some grip stuff. 40 grand in 20 days. That is the potential of the renting industry. A quick nugget, it's not just like top end's 40 grand, like top end could be like a few $1,000,000. There's another company called Whites that does major blockbuster movies here. I don't even want to know how much money they make, but they do massive budgets. All right, so that is a lot of information to take in, but one thing to consider is that this can be a viable revenue stream for your production company or your video business. Now, if you're not comfortable with renting out your gear to strangers, just remember that when you go out on set and you have a camera, make sure you're including that as a line item in the services that you're providing, because it's not just you coming out, you're the videographer. There's also a kit, your camera kit, that you should be charging for so that you're making money off of that camera on the productions that you're doing. All right, guys, that is the end of the video. So if you guys like this...
Chris, can I actually close out the video this time? I want to show Debbie I'm a real man.
Let's let Bill close out the video. Okay, Bill, this is your chance. Own it. If you guys liked Chris's video, because I sure did, I was taking so many notes back there, I almost burnt through my pencil. So if you guys like this video, as he always likes to say, go down there and have some fun. It's really fun. I go find the like button. One second, I'm gonna get the like button. I found it. I also left a comment while I was down there. That was a nice place. I said, I love you, Chris. Thanks for your support always. So thank you guys for watching Chris's video. I've always wanted to do this as a closing in a video. Trying to cover the screen like all the YouTubers do. Debbie always makes fun of my T-Rex hands. Oh boy, I hope Debbie picks up. Hi, honey. Yes, it's your favorite. No, not favorite. Okay, it's Bill. Hi. I'm loving Canada. It's very nice up here. Chris, I think Chris is getting a little sick of me. Yeah, no, I've been learning. I've been up here. No, I'm taking notes. Don't worry. Chris is teaching me lots of things. I learned today how to rent out my gear, all the handy cams. They're gonna be out of the house, honey. Don't worry. They're gonna be rented all over, bringing in money. See, I told you they were good investment. I told you they were good investments. The handy cams bring us together as a family. Anyways, don't worry. I've been listening to Chris. I've been listening to Peter McKicken. I've been listening to Gandhi Vaynerchuk, and he's telling me all about the hustle lately. So do not worry. We're gonna be hustling. We're gonna be renting out the handy cams, and that means we're gonna be back in love again. I promise. I'm not gonna buy any more cameras. Bye, honey. I'll see you tomorrow at Atlanta, Florida International. Love you.